Now, I asked a hard question in the beginning or near the beginning of why is it this way? And the reason why it's this way, I'll give you something to chew on in this regard, is because there is a stopper between us and our consciousness level and the rest of creation. And the reason why is because we are also a machine in service. If you realized what exactly your function is, sans or without consciousness, without the kind of consciousness that we're striving for, in other words, if you realized that you were really just moon food, not you personally, but humans, you would, on principle alone, stop participating in the game. Now, then
Mm.
where would the planet be? Right? What if every squirrel, what if every sheep in a pen that was about to be slaughtered realized it was nothing but wool and mutton, yeah, for the farmer? Wouldn't it rebel on principle? Wouldn't it say enough of this and do everything it possibly can to escape? Yeah, now that would be terrible for the farmer, wouldn't it? Right? Lose their herd. They don't call sheep's herds, do they? Yeah, they do. Sheep herders, right? They lose their herd. And it's not a gaggle. I know that. That's geese. Yeah, it's the same. You're in the same boat, except you do have the ability to become consciously aware of that. And when you decide to refuse to participate in that lowest aspect of what just organic life can be for the planet and embrace this higher level or this higher divinity that's within inside of you, you place yourself under a different set of laws entirely. And we've talked about the law of accident before. The law of accident is just kind of, the random shit that happens to us in our lives. you know, I mean, it's
Mm.
unpredictable. Yeah, this law of accident is just kind of like you don't know where the atoms are gonna align. Hmm? But once you begin to escape that, imagine if a liver, if a cell in your liver says, "Hold on a minute, I'm tired of processing food and toxins and booze and everything else on behalf of this complex. I strive to be a brain, right? I want to be something that does a little bit more on the creational scheme of things." And it leaves the liver, travels up the bloodstream, and then tries to get into the brain. That's the situation you're in here. Obviously, the liver cell can't do that. But the other thing too is that everything is going to try to stop it. Mhm. You put yourself. The reason I'm talking about this is because you need to be aware, I think, of what you're getting yourself into. And I will tell you one thing about the way: it is a one-way street. Okay, it's not like you can begin to walk the way and go, "Ooh, wow, too hard. Mm-mm, don't want to do it," and turn around and go back to your normal life. It can't
Too
happen.
late.
Huh? It can't, right?
Too late.
It can't.
No.
Yeah. Because you will be indelibly changed. Once you begin walking the way, you might not make it, but you got to keep on that path. You escape the law of accident, which is the general law of the planet. It's what keeps you asleep, keeps you as a
Am I
machine.
right? Uh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Am,
Go ahead.
am I right in saying that if you did have a moment and say, I don't do the way anymore, it's a
Mm.
bit like the Lot's wife thing, that you would end up worse off than before you started?
I potentially, but I don't even think it's possible. Right? A lot of people walk around the perimeter and think they're walking the way. And that you can do anything you want to with, right? You can try this, you can try that, you can try the next thing. Once you enter this direction, you're no longer under this influence at all anymore. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the planet misses you actually, but it's a one-way valve. You might get stuck here, have to reincarnate a few times, and eventually climb your way down to that core. But there's no going back. It's so in that respect, it's not really like Lot's wife because you don't become a pillar of salt. You just can't turn around. You're like an ant on a string, no room to turn around. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. So, before we start really working into the way, you do understand, I'm sure by now, that everything leading up to this point has just been packing your backpack with things you'll need. As you begin a journey in the way, you're going to need to know what the ray of creation is, for example. You're going to need to know things like what time is and what space is and what matter is and the law of three and the law of seven. And, you know, these are things in your backpack. But once you start the way, you can't go backwards.